On Ron.
Hi, this is David McGinley. Welcome to another Healing and Cancer podcast in which we're pulling together and interviewing remarkable people who are on the cancer journey and can give us profound insight into coping and the nature of the experience and how to endure even in those hard times and connect with wisdom and strength. And really happy that we have with us today a fellow I've known for years and years. It's Stephen Zink, and welcome, Stephen. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And of course, we've got Rob. Great to have you here hosting.
Thanks, David, and huge thanks to you, Stephen, as well, for sharing your experience and your wisdom. Really looking forward to this.
So throughout the podcast, we have heard from a variety of people, some who are remarkable survivors who have defied the odds, and I would put Stephen into that category. And we don't not only have all of the wisdom that Stephen's gained over his years of the cancer journey to learn from today, but you would be able to access more of his wisdom if you're inspired by our podcast today by picking up his book, which is, I think, available on Amazon, with the really startling title, Dying Was Easy. So we'll be exploring that title in that book as well. So Stephen, you've been on this road for a long time. When did it start?
It actually started for me in '95 in November. I was a regular plasma donor with the Canadian Red Cross, and every year they did an annual workup on you. And I got a call in November '95 saying they'd found something abnormal, and I was permanently deferred from ever giving blood products again, and my file was forwarded to my family doctor. And it just started from there. 3 years. There wasn't anything initially that stood out other than this higher than normal level of a monoclonal antibody protein in the blood. But then it was 3 years of monitoring that, and then in June 30th, '99, they gave the final diagnosis that it was multiple myeloma.
Multiple myeloma. And I know from our experience on the cancer program, multiple myeloma, very serious. And the best bet is for it to be managed. We have a chronic that can become a very aggressive cancer.
Well, when I was diagnosed, it was incurable. There wasn't a whole lot of talk of being managed, and they gave me 3 to 5 years. So since then, it's become incurable but possibly manageable with the new drugs and therapies they've developed.
So then you sit there with multiple myeloma, they drop the bomb, and suddenly your life feels completely different. Where do you go from there?
Well, I started doing the math. And at the time, I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. So I just told him I needed 15. And I was going to get to 15.
Yeah. That was 1999. And here we are in 2015. It's great to be talking with you today.
Yeah, well, the oldest boy's going to college, so there's not much more I can do with him.
And Stephen, I just wanted to say I really appreciate your tears. You have a big heart, and so often we kind of repress those type of tears. And just thinking back during that time, I mean, obviously it was very stressful and lots of emotions going there. But I just want to acknowledge and just welcome whatever emotions are coming up as the natural healthy response to a very difficult diagnosis.
You cry a lot.
I had a wonderful conversation with Steve in the Medical Day unit a few weeks ago, and you said something that was so profound. I've never heard anyone put it this way. We were talking about that emotional vulnerability, and our every instinct is to suppress it and keep it under control. And I'll let you say the words. You said to me,
Well, I've said all. People have told me all along. They look at me and talk about, I'm a remarkable individual and all that, and I'm really not. I'm just going through the steps. But they talk about, how tough you must be, and you do wear a suit of armor, but it's not to keep things from getting in. It's to keep you from just falling apart and getting out. So you need that suit of armor on, because the biggest thing with cancer that I've found is all you want to be is considered normal. You're going through all this stuff. You've got friends, you've got family, you've got everything. You just want to be considered normal again. You don't want people looking at you in a certain way. So you put on the suit and you keep everything inside and you try to be as normal and as you can be so that you can regain whatever aspects of your life that get taken away from you. And that's tough because the suit cracks and things get out. But it's there to keep you together rather than protect you from anything that's coming from outside. Your friends and support group do that for you. You got to think about what you can do for yourself, and that's kind of how you keep it all together.
yeah, there's a real balance in maintaining a level of authenticity and emotional engagement that's honest with people, and yet, on the other hand, holding back the most crushing emotions that could be welling up inside of you, and others are oblivious to that when you wear your armor well. And
Well,
this is a survival instinct, right? This is how we cope.
it is how you cope, and you have to understand that people are concerned about you, but they have their own lives, so they're not there to be your sounding board 24 hours a day. You've got to deal with it yourself. You've got to be able to control it, and you've got to let them live their life and be part of your life when it's convenient and it works, but you just can't be a burden to people.
Yeah. And this is something, of course, that starts as soon as you're diagnosed. It's a secret world that goes on inside of you 24/7.
It's very difficult, or it was for me, to get that big L off my forehead. That here I was, 35 at the time, and starting a young family supposedly, and I couldn't even stay healthy. So you just feel like you've let everybody down. So that one's tough.
Yeah, that sense of responsibility, not only to others, but to feel the burden of their emotional weight because of your illness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and with your kids, of course, every instinct in you wants to protect them from that.
Well, I was very lucky early on, is that they were young, and it was manageable. Nothing really kind of came out of the blue, so you could lie to them a lot. You could do stupid things and break stuff and crush vertebra, and then all of the other medications you could just say, well, your doctors were giving it to you to keep your bones strong because you were so stupid, and they just gobbled it up, and they were kids and they just went on. But then as things got worse, there were times where you had to lie a little bit more, and then finally in 2012 I had to come clean and tell them how bad things really got.
How
Pardon me?
how are the kids doing?
There are three different individuals. I'm sure that the oldest boy is a thinker, so he tends to compartmentalize everything and think about it, and research it. I'm sure that when I told the middle boy what was going on, he got distracted by a bird flying past the window halfway through. And the younger boy is more of a caregiver. He's the guy that wants to get into medicine. So he was the one that was more interested in how I was doing, asking me, is there anything you could do for me, that sort of stuff. So, they're doing okay. they're moving along. One boy said to my mother recently, she was saying, "Do you ever get worried about your father?" And he thought about it and then said, "Nah, he seems to pull through." So I guess I've done okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and kids, teenagers, they have their way of processing that information and adapting into the experience. But you began that adapting when you were diagnosed. You're miles ahead of everybody else because you've been doing it 24 hours a day. Slowly sort of negotiating with your mortality, trying to function and get through the day, learning how to deal with the invisible emotional eruptions within you and that feeling of being so fragile.
Yeah, you have to. I don't know if you have to, but you have to deal with every little thing and put it in a box and put it up on the shelf and know that it's there and you can pull it down when you need it.
Yeah. You did that, Stephen. You did that really well through blogging, through writing, a form of journaling. When did that start?
I started that in March of 2012. I had a blog that was basically it was more of a current events blog, explaining current events and things that were happening, all that stuff, and then this reared its ugly head in a nasty way. And I just said, well, maybe people would like to hear what it's really like. It's not, I'm going to go take the trip of my life. I'm going to do my bucket list. I'm going to do this. It's like, no, this is how you do it when you've got to go to work every day and you've got a family to support and you're trying to keep them normal and you want everything on that side to be totally unfettered by all this. And you just kind of go off on your own and do your own thing and try and heal while they live their lives.
So you had blogged quite a bit and then decided, I'm going to pull this together into a book.
I had no intention of it, but people who read the blog told me that it should be compiled into a book with some background information, because the blogs were just things that I would write about that day. There's no background or context, I guess, to what it was. It was just something that had happened. I would blog about it and use it as a form of therapy and move on. But in the book, you elaborate on stuff and what's actually happening and go from there. So it's more informative.
Stephen, Stephen, can you give us an example of something that you would have written in your blog and then had to elaborate on that you found was helpful for people that actually spelled out the reality of living with multiple myeloma? Can you give us some examples?
I'm not sure. People have talked about so many different aspects of it as being helpful. I think with multiple myeloma patients, what I tried to do was explain the nitty-gritty. You go into these treatment protocols and you take so much of one drug on one day and so much on the other day, and I tried to write about what it's actually like. It's a battle of managing side effects. You have to figure out what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how you can change your life around to fit into that. And you don't get that from the medical community. They're great at dispensing it, but they're not great at telling you, okay, at hour 6 after you take this drug, you're going to feel like crap, and you better be somewhere you can lay down, or this drug is going to beat up your bone marrow, so don't be surprised that you're going to need a transfusion in a week's time. There's lots of stuff with steroids and some of the new drugs and neuropathies that as you're going into it, you would really like to have that sort of instruction list that tells you, okay, here's what you're doing, this is how it's going to affect you, this is how long it's going to last, this is how you can deal with it, these are some of the things some other people have done that work well, and just remember that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is going to end. You are going to get through this, and don't give up. Radiation is extremely good at that. It's you go to get radiation, and they can tell you almost to the minute when you're going to get side effects and how long you're going to last and everything else. Chemotherapy is more of an art and seems more like hocus pocus at sometimes, where they add a little bit here, take away a little bit there, and a few more cycles here, and we'll see, and that sort of stuff. But you just don't know. I mean, with radiation, some people have asked me what markings are. Well, markings are the most innocuous thing ever. You go in and they put little tattoo dots on you, 4 of them, and that's it. And you're done, and then you're ready to take your treatment where they line up laser beams. If you don't tell somebody that, it can be scary. It can be, people just don't know, and they don't know what's going on. So luckily I've had enough radiation, they can reuse some of them.
Yeah, having somebody walk you through it is so wonderful. Even before your treatment starts, we have a new program at the hospital, a new orientation program that tries to do just that. But yeah, you're right with chemo. Sometimes you just can't predict, people react differently.
Okay.
How long have you been on chemo now?
17 years.
Oh.
In one form or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate this weekend is not a great weekend. You're really tired, but it was from a transfusion, not from the chemotherapy.
No, I'm having trouble with transfusion for some reason, and they're not sure why, but they're not boosting me. They're actually dragging me down. We don't know why.
Yeah. Frustrating to work with that energy level. It was a beautiful weekend, and a lot of things you may have wanted to do. Yeah.
Well, you learn that you got to keep moving. As soon as you stop, you're in trouble. You keep one foot going, and it seems like the pains go away, and you get along with it.
Yeah.
You stop and you try to take a rest. It's awfully hard to get back up again. So,
Mm-hmm.
but as I said in one blog, and I truly believe it, adventures in life don't have to be all happy. Everything's an adventure. This is an adventure. I learned a lot through it, and the insane part of me would not give it up.
The insane part of you.
Yeah. I know that I might lose, but I'll never be beaten.
Yes. Which brings us to this interesting title of your book, Dying Was Easy.
It's incredibly easy. Every time that I've been to the edge and have looked over, the doctors have basically said, your options are limited. We're not quite sure where you're going to go from here. I didn't put an ounce of effort into it. It just happens. And then to get back from the edge to normal, or whatever normal is now for me, it's hard to say. That's where the hard work comes from. But the dying part, geez, it just happens. You don't even realize it. All of a sudden, they're looking at you and telling you, we're not sure what we can do for you anymore. And you feel it. You feel the systems in your body shutting down, and you don't know how far you can go. And it just amazes me that it didn't take any effort. It was like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't even do a mail order request, and all of a sudden, here it is. I'm dying, and didn't take any effort or any thought. Just was there.
Yeah. But scrambling back, clawing back from that edge, that took a lot of work. That takes more than chemo and radiation. It takes every ounce of willpower and aspects of your consciousness that we don't even understand, that desire to live.
It is. It's a. Oh, I have no fear in dying. I'm very aware that, like I said, I may not win this. I've had a good run. I think I've done a good job. I'm proud of myself. But I have this feeling inside that this is not the way it's supposed to be. So, as long as I have that feeling, and I'll just keep going with it. One foot in front of the other. I really want to hear cancer say, Uncle. I'll get to the point, I don't care if I'm 95 pounds, skin and bones, and hanging off a parking meter on the street. I'm going to say to it, I kill you off by the billions. I'll take any poison or radiation they'll give me. Do you keep wanting to go with this, or are you going to say, Uncle? Because I'm going to go as long as it takes. And you're not up against anybody easy. So just say, Uncle, we'll get over with it, and we'll get on.
The evidence is really substantial, of course, that desire to live, that fighting attitude, to have something to live for, makes a difference in people's quality of life and length of life. And but it's a factor we can't measure. You know it intuitively, and I'm sure everybody who listens is listening now knows that quality of life is essential. And but there comes times when you're just tired, and yeah.
Yes, it's of all the things I've done in my life so far, nothing could come close to this in terms of how much work and effort you have to put into it. It's 24/7. It's always on your mind, and it's hard work. Hard work, and you just have to do it. There's no choice. I remember being in a support group early on. It was very helpful, but after a while, I said to my wife, I said, I can't go anymore. I said, there are people there that are awe-inspiring, that have been to hell and back, and I know they're going to die. And there are other people that come in where their prognosis is really mild, they've been caught early, and you tell them this is what's going to happen, and you're going to go through these drugs, and they'll look at you and go, well, I don't know if I can do that. And you just say, what's plan B? What do you mean you don't know you can do it? You just do it. And you make it work. But I said, I'm getting these people that are giving up, and I'm losing friends and these role models. And it was just too hard to.
One of the great things you can have is a holiday from cancer.
I did have it for 6 months, a year and a half ago.
What did you do?
I enjoyed it. I was like a kid in a candy store. The normal things. I wasn't on any drugs. I wasn't on any treatments. For 6 months, I led a normal life. Got some strength back. Got involved in some things that I had to pass up, and it was wonderful. And that's where I want to try to get again, just longer.
Yeah. Yeah. We're coming up on the half-hour mark. Rob, do you want to jump in with any insights?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to reflect that I'm imagining that for the majority of minutes in your life, you really are thinking, contemplating, trying to recover from side effects from treatment, to really that cancer, multiple myeloma is on your mind. But I wanted to ask you if you find moments of joy, if you have these kind of breakthrough moments where you find the bliss in your life. Can you describe a few of those kind of feelings for us as well, realizing that the vast majority of it is very difficult and hard work?
I'm afraid there are a lot of people that go through life that don't pick up on the little things. I don't know if I was telling this to David before, but I'm very aware of when things are perfect. And I assume that I would say I was spiritual, not religious, but I would assume that in heaven the things are perfect. So you're here on this earth, and sometimes things just happen. And if you're aware of them and you let them in and you're open to them, you can actually revel in this perfection that just happens all around you for that brief moment. And when it's over, you just say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, yep, things aren't so bad. I mean, good things happen to bad people, or bad things happen to good people all the time. Why not me? I can't sit here and complain. They've had too many gifts, and it's just little stuff, and I think people are too busy to pick up on it. And that's sad, because it's important. You need that. You need to know that there's something that is perfect, and you can just, in that moment, relax, enjoy it, and not have to think about anything else.
Wow, great wisdom there. So, Dave, I'm wondering, just with that wonderful reflection and great wisdom, that whether we can do some sort of breakthrough of prayer or a little bit of guided meditation, or whatever we want to do, just to have a break from the interview part.
Yeah, I would like to do a guided meditation. We usually do this at the beginning as well, but this is a perfect opportunity, given what Stephen has said. Any moment can be a perfect moment. What shifts in that moment isn't usually the outward circumstances. It's the quality of our own presence. It's our awareness. Something in us shifts, and suddenly we see everything differently. And yet try to grasp onto that, hold it, it's away. It's something really that apprehends us, it grabs us. So take a moment, and I'm going to ask the viewers to participate in this. If you can just sit comfortably, try to have your back fairly straight, and we're going to do a guided exercise to connect in deeply with this moment. The best way to do that, of course, is with the body. The body won't lie to us. Our mind will be the first to deceive us, but the body will tell exactly how we are. So if you can just feel, you can close your eyes, feel your body resting in a chair or on a bed. Feel the weight of your body supported. And be aware of your breath flowing. If it's flowing to your chest, try to lower your diaphragm. Let it flow deeper and listen. First, I would like you to listen to any noise that might be in the room or the house where you are. And accept those noises, even if they are distracting, because they are part of what is here. And now if you can also listen to the noise inside of you. Listen to the noise of your mind. Watch those thoughts bouncing around, and don't try to stop your mind from doing that. Just let it run while you watch it go. We do this because our thoughts are a part of the noise that is here now, so we will accept them and listen. And with those thoughts are feelings that are stirred up. Listen, pay attention to the feelings. This is often the most difficult step. Listen to where you're holding a feeling in your body, wherever there is tension or energy. It can be in your gut, your heart, it can be in your throat. Locate the feeling in your body. Breathe into it, try to notice the edges of it, how it might be moving. Feelings never sit still. Give it a color. Try to give it a name, or listen to it tell you its name. And welcome that feeling as part of what is here now. And then you let it all go. You embrace everything that's here and you let it go. Letting any attachment go or pushing it away, letting that go. It all just is. And ask yourself, who am I? That is, having this body, these thoughts, and these feelings. Just breathe into that. And the one thing you can say is, I am here. I have this body, but I am not this body. I have these thoughts, but I am not these thoughts. I have these feelings, but I am not these feelings. I'm a witness to all of it. Breathing quietly, feel the weight of your body supported. And gently accept the noises around you as you return your awareness to your room. You open your eyes. This is a lovely meditation to use when you're suffering, when you're distressed. It's a way to step back from that without trying to suppress it or fix it. Not something easily done. Very difficult to do. So Stephen, your book is available on Amazon?
Yeah, but they're the most expensive. You can order it through any bookstore, any online. Get e-reader versions through Kindle and Indigo if you want to do that. So it's basically out there, but yeah, Amazon's the most expensive.
That's a good tip. Yeah. How did it feel when you finished the book and you got it out there? Did you know what the book might do, or have you heard?
It's still a work in progress. It's out there, but I haven't had any chance to sort of market it and promote it the way I wanted to. I want to get it out to more of the Myeloma Association and some of the support groups. The local one has it, and they've read it and like it. But, there's many more across the country that can probably benefit from it. And I have a good friend who's a former math prof at Dal who has taken a liking to the book and has re-edited it and wants it published and is giving me some pointers on how to get that done. And he said it's for everybody. It's not just for somebody with cancer. It just will speak to some of the trials and hardships that we all go through, no matter what we're battling.
I'm always so grateful when someone will put their experience, the raw nature of the experience, down in print for others to read, because then, of course, others will recognize themselves in those words and realize they're not alone. Thanks for doing that.
It's a little difficult when you just open yourself up to everybody, but that's the only way you can do it properly.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had mentioned the support group, and that can be a wonderful gift to help you endure, but for many they find it's a temporary step.
It is. Like I said, you make these relationships through the support group that are very painful when they end. So you show up initially crazed out of your mind because you're not sure what's happening, and all of a sudden you're within a group of people that have been there, done that, and you don't feel like an outsider anymore. And you absorb all that, and once you've absorbed all that, you're then able to build on that on your own knowledge journey and go out and get more information on what's particular to you. So you do kind of leave the group for that reason. And again, when the relationships end and you get over that pain, then there's not a lot that draws you back.
Yeah, and then your growth has been complete there, and it's time to move to something else.
Exactly.
Through all of this, you're doing the most important homework of your life, right? It's that homework of awareness and love and forgiveness, and it's that it can't last, even the attachment to this life.
The forgiveness is hard.
Can you say more about that?
Well, as I was saying earlier, I still don't know. I haven't forgiven myself for getting myself in this situation. And when I say getting myself, I do know that at the time that this popped up, I was leading a very unhealthy lifestyle, and this was just one of the things I think that was there to jump in and kind of take over when I was letting my guard down and not doing the right stuff. So I do blame myself for getting here, and maybe someday I'll forgive myself, maybe someday I won't. I don't know.
I just want to add, from kind of the medical perspective, it sounds like there's a fair amount of guilt around that. I've really kind of struggled and tried to research this question: in what way can we make ourselves vulnerable to a cancer diagnosis? And I really think the science is not suggesting that a negative attitude or stress, or even for multiple myeloma, the lifestyle habits. So So I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to make sure that people who are listening to the podcast aren't going to overblame themselves, because really cancer is so multifactorial in its cause that oftentimes it's just bad luck, really bad luck that allows a person to get into that scenario. So I respect, you're really feeling awful about the causation, but I'm just hoping that people aren't going to take away that idea that they've caused their own cancer.
I guess in my case, I just know my body so well that at that time I was worried. I was worried something was going to happen, just because there was so much stress and just wasn't living right in the whole bit. And lo and behold.
Yeah. Well, also just respect your incredible fighting spirit as well. People living through 15 years of multiple myeloma means that you also had a powerful influence on your body in some way or form in order to get yourself through everything you've gone through. So also hats off to you for your great spirit on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is such an important question, though, that you've raised, Stephen. What did I do to contribute to my cancer? I think I've rarely met a cancer patient who hasn't asked that question. How did I? Because of my feelings, my lifestyle choices? Was it because of holding resentment or bitterness, anger, leading an unhealthy physical lifestyle through smoking or drinking or other actions? Cancers are preventable, according to the American Cancer Association. And when we see development happen in countries, we also see certain cancer rates rise. And it's interesting, Rosalie and Zimmerman, I've mentioned this before, 2004 did a study in which they found very, very little records in the fossil records of any cancer. There was little evidence that was even a significant, or it was incredibly rare, both the Industrial Revolution. And with that, 1700s exploded on voting ever since. And yet other studies clearly indicate there's any direct correlation we can draw, but stress and poor coping and unhealthy emotions and thoughts suppress the immune system, compromise quality of life, and compromise treatment and recovery. So what did I do to cause the cancer? I think I'm hearing from you that instinctive knowing I could have done better. I made choices that weren't healthy. And yet here you are, my goodness, 15 years later. It's amazing. You'll have tapped into that secret other ingredient that's enabled you to endure far beyond prognosis. Wow.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride.
Stephen, is there anything else that you want to offer the wider audience? Something else that has helped you get through, or maybe a reflection on, Dave led us through kind of a powerful type of exercise in which you can kind of tap into a bigger perspective. Do you have a kind of spirituality that has also helped you through these incredibly difficult times?
Yes, it has. I've never, even as a child going to church, I've never been one that prayed. I remember, I don't know when it happened, but sometime during my childhood, I realized that I could just have talks, and they would just happen whenever. Things were quiet, my mind was calm, I could just have a talk and ask questions. If things were right, as crazy as I may be, I would get an answer. And that has held me through my whole life. And the big one that I used to get through this is just let me know what abilities I have. don't let me get down. Give me a good swift kick in the butt if I get down, but just keep reminding me of what I can do and what I can be capable of. I never asked for a cure. I didn't think I was worthy, and there's enough going on that the big kahuna's probably got more things to deal with than curing me. Who knows? Maybe they wanted me to have this. But I just said, well, here's the deal. You just keep reminding me what I can do, and we'll move through this together. And at Christmas, things were getting bad again, and I knew it was happening. And Christmas Eve, I knew that I should go to emergency. I knew I had a lesion on the spine. I knew it was pressing against the spinal cord. I was getting pain. Bowel function was kind of getting a little wonky and urinary stuff. And I had a little talk. And I just said, you know, if there's something that you can do just to keep me at a hospital through Christmas, I would appreciate it. Once we get through Christmas, that's fine. And that was it. And the next day, things started to get better. And the pains went away, and everything came back. And about a week or two later, I just asked the question. I said, why now? Why, through all of this, did you do something now? And I nearly hit the floor because a voice came into my head, as clear as day. You never asked. And I don't need to hear another word.
Wow.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was absolutely true. I never did. It was always, help this person, do this, do that. You know, kick me in the butt when I'm getting down on myself. I never asked for anything. And then haven't had an issue with that for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. Hey, if you got that, what else do you need?
Right. And I'm wondering as well, maybe that's part of why you're not scared of dying, right? Because you do have that connection with God. It's pretty obvious from what you lived through your life, that connection.
Honestly, if they came to me tomorrow and said, you're done, there's nothing more we can do, I wouldn't feel shortchanged. I just wouldn't. There's just been enough. I've got, 3 boys that are going to continue on and make people proud. And I've done a good job so far. I've had gifts. I've had more than anybody could ask for. So to say that it has to continue, no, it doesn't have to continue. And if it doesn't, I'm quite okay with that.
Well, God has given you the blessing of instilling your love and your wisdom into your boys, into your kids. You know, that's been the major gift here. I mean, I hope you do well for a long time, but still, it's like looking at what God's blessings are in some sense.
They're teenagers. You don't know what's going in and
Yeah. I'm hoping that it's right onto the heart. Right onto the heart.
Yeah. You always hope you're setting a good example. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's something they have to decide down the road.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that story, especially here near the end of the interview. I can't imagine a greater climax to bring the talk to a close with, and the astonishing simplicity of that. I don't know. I'm filled with this admiration for you, because you prayed to God to help you live up to your potential, to do what you could do, to get your body to do what it could do. And we never feel that we achieve that from the inside. But I can tell you, man, we're sitting here from the outside saying, bravo, well done.
Totally
Well
agree.
lived.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much more the body can take, but take it day by day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great
well,
experience there.
be there for you. Thank you so much, Stephen.
It was a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much, Stephen. Yeah, wonderful. And just hopefully we can promote the book. Dying is easy.
Dying was easy.
Dying was easy. Yeah, some great wisdom there. And just the last reflection is, if people want to contact the Healing Cancer Foundation, you can ask Stephen if he wants to answer any questions and so on. You contact us at info@healingandcancer.org, and really welcome your feedback. So thank you. God bless you, Stephen, for just sharing your great wisdom and love. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.